Let's move on, though, into the next guy. Cardinals going with Josh Rosen, the quarterback from UCLA. Before we get into the whole thing with the Cardinals getting did they get the steal of the draft in Josh Rosen, the one thing I want to ask you guys is comments that I saw that Josh Rosen made after the pick, which I'm half and half on. The first one where he said that 9 teams made a big mistake by passing on me. I got no problem with that. Draymond Green did the same thing in the NBA, and he's making teams pay for passing on him. The thing that I don't like is when I saw, and he's really pissed off about it. Like, part of me goes, there's the good in that where, okay, let that fuel you and drive you to prove those teams wrong. But then there's the side of me that might be my father and me, where it's like, shut the fuck up, you're in the NFL.
Yeah,
you're in the NFL.
I've tried to defend Rosen's personality, kind of saying, he's Aaron Rodgers-esque. He has that chip on his shoulder. But one thing that Aaron's great at is being a politician about his answers. And I think that's one thing that Josh Rosen needs to learn how to do is, yes, you might not want to play politics, and you kind of mentioned this on the Dan Patrick show, or I think it was the Colin Cowherd show, is that he has an interest in politics, but the one thing that great politicians do is that they are calm, they are level-headed, they are strategic with their words. And I understand Josh Rosen kind of wanting to be brash, open, and honest with his words, but I think there is a level of where you need to be professional. And I think that he kind of crossed that line. I love the player. I think that he has a chip on his shoulder now, which is probably good for his game. The only problem is really durability. But in the end, that does worry me because I talked about Baker Mayfield's immaturity, and this might show immaturity in Josh Rosen.
Well, and the thing I think of in Dave, I think of this. If I was a Cardinal fan, after the I'm pissed off, I'd be sitting there going, why are you pissed off? Don't be pissed off that they didn't pick you.
Nuh-uh.
I picked you. Like, you should be happy. It should be like, you know what? I'm happy to be a Cardinal. Going to do great things in Arizona. Should be all about. I'd be sitting there going.
People have different motivators.
I'm
Ricky.
like, why are you caring? I'd be like, why are you caring that so and so didn't take you before me? I got you.
People
Worry
have
about
different
me.
motivators.
Oh, I know that.
I'm heavily motivated by spite. And I have a feeling that Josh Rosen, likewise, is motivated by spite more than he's happy he was picked, yes. But he wasn't picked, exactly where he wanted to be.
Yeah, which was number one.
He wasn't respected.
Well, no, not number one. He didn't want to go to Cleveland.
Right. Basically, he wants someone to
He cleared
trade
that up. He said he wanted to be drafted anywhere. On Dan Patrick's show.
Backtracked it.
And Dan Patrick's show, he literally said, I just want to be selected on Thursday. Clearly, that's not the truth.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be selected somewhere.
He wanted to be selected somewhere else.
Didn't want to be Brady Quinn.
But basically, his whole thing was, I agree. He's more focused about himself and feeling disrespected, and he wants to set the record straight there. Rather than, I'm happy, I'm enjoying the moment. I can't wait to be an Arizona Cardinal. This is my jam. I'm going to make this place amazing. No, he's definitely got a different set of priorities than a lot of people do.
Well, and this is, to me, now getting into the did they get the steal. To me, it's a two answer to the question. Did they get the steal by just what kind of a quarterback he is on the field? Potentially. Like, he's the most the guy to me that could step in day one for any team was Josh Rosen. I look at his tape, screamed Matt Ryan to me with how he throws, his mechanics. I was like looking, I'm like, I've seen this exact before. And then I pulled up Matt Ryan tape and I'm like, oh, that's where I've seen it. But the reason why I say no is I feel like, remember when Jim Mora was like, oh, he's got interests outside of football. Yeah. And I know, Dave, you were one where you're like, I want my guy to have interests outside of football. I think this shows that a little bit. Not the interest outside of football, hey, I should be focused on this. I should be focused on the team that drafted me, but I'm focused on something completely not related to, it's related because I didn't get drafted by them, but I shouldn't be focusing on this at all. And that's what I wonder will be the derailment of Josh Rosen in the end, where it's 30 for 30, great player, but man, if he would have just if he wouldn't have just worried about what the critics said, he's worried about outside voices, he would have been a great player. That could be the alternate to me with Josh Rosen, that he will be his own destructive tool and could ruin himself. No, he could be the tool that destroys his career
himself because he's so occupied with what the media says about him and what his perception is outside.
Exactly.
I could see that. But I feel like he's internally, mentally strong enough to kind of channel that into, I think, his time on the field. That's sort of, Sean, you're just giving me a...
Dave has a picture of Josh Rosen while he's being drafted or walking on the stage, and it's like kind of one of those pictures that no matter where you go, the eyes will follow you. I don't know if we could put it up on the screen or not.
We'll put it on Twitter.
I'll turn Dave's computer if you could see it, because I kind of wanted to get away from looking at me.
We'll put it on Twitter. For
I don't
sure.
know. I mean, maybe it's kind of similar to the look Rodgers had when he was in the war room after not being picked. But Rodgers, it was more of he felt defeated, where Rosen seemed more pissed off. And
he was like seething.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I agree with you, Ricky. And again, maybe it's old school thinking of,
just be happy you were drafted.
You're drafted. You're a top 10
You want to be
pick.
Geno Smith and not get your name called day one?
Like, you were drafted. And I understand that you wanted to be somewhere else, and that's not your expectations, and you thought you were going to be higher, but go prove it. Like Baker Mayfield proved that. 3-star recruit and walked down to 2 different programs and won the Heisman. Like, I just... And then there was comments about him not trying or at UCLA or something along the lines of... he could have been somewhere else, but he picked UCLA to be a joke. I don't know exactly where he is. And if I'm going to bash Baker Mayfield on immaturity, I think this is showing some immaturity in Josh Rosen. Not because it's an outside interest. I just think that he has an ego that he needs to live up to. And again, ego's not always a terrible thing. I think Aaron Rodgers has a massive ego, but I think it's something that is beneficial to him.
RELAX.
Relax.
Yeah, I'm happy you're at least admitting to this, because you're being fair about your criticism.
Well, am I usually not?
I mean, sometimes you get a little biased.
Well, again,
Just a
I
smidge.
love Josh Rosen's tape, and when people were bashing on him for his personality, I didn't really buy into it, because I was like, well, that
was me.
Yeah, that's what I saw it, and I was just like, you know what? I think this is more of just some bad rumors, and maybe this is just some miscommunication from Jim Mora, and even Mora wanted to clean it up a bit. It's starting to rub me the wrong way, and the fact that it took me literally like a day, like one comment to kind of flip it, I think it speaks volumes onto what Josh Rosen's kind of resume is on with his personality.
And there was a whole thing with the Mora when he tried to clean it up, where they were saying that, is this really Jim Mora cleaning it up, or is this the Rosen family going, hey man, we could have went anywhere. We could have went to Southern Cal. We came and played for you. We threw you a bone. Now you throw us a bone. Like, there were people saying that as well. Yeah. The thing that I think of is I go back to when we ranked the quarterbacks. And for me, early on, it was Darnold Rosen, Darnold Rosen, Darnold Rosen. But then as we got through it, it was like Darnold and Allen, and then they flipped towards the end, Allen, Darnold. Baker was then my third, because I love the chip on my shoulder thing. Rosen kept falling. And if it wasn't for what I saw on tape and what he can do on the field, he would have been out of my top 5 because of the whole after I heard the Jim Mora thing, I'm like, all right, prove to me that it's wrong, but I don't want a guy that is going to. The big thing for me was when they were like, oh, well, when the wide receiver runs a bad route, he gets really angry and he uses a condescending tone. Again, speaking from personal experience here, I hated when I was in rehearsals and stuff, and you're with someone and they're trying to help you, but they're so condescending about things where it's like, just get the fuck away from me. Right. I'll figure it out on myself. I don't want that as a guy for a teammate. So for me, now I see this and I go, I wouldn't even want him on my team because of what he was acting like tonight. Kind of like a crybaby. Ooh. Kind of like a crybaby a little bit.
I think in some ways, and there's always the saying of, you could tell the character of a person on how they act when they have, how they act around someone where they have nothing to gain. And I think maybe even Kanye tweeted that out. I know he's a nutbag, but he tweeted that out. And I think I think Rosen might be that character where he's going to act like he cares about someone when he can gain something from somebody. And again, I don't know Josh Rosen. I can't make these assumptions.
I've said numerous times, and I'll say it again. Josh, if you're watching, you're always welcome down the podcast.
He's a dear friend of ours.
I'm just saying, if it gets to his timeline, he's more than welcome on the show anytime.
I bet he watches.
To plead his case.
I just think that, again, that might be his personality of he's just trying to get somewhere in advance. And that, again, doesn't bode well for a leader. I would rather have Baker Mayfield, who, he might have interest in himself, but that interest is winning and being the best, which means at some point he's going to drag people along with him. Rosen's is more of, once you're dead to me, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
And that works when you're a businessman. Doesn't work when you're a quarterback.
It's a team sport, unfortunately, at the end of the day. And like you said, if he is not making his team better and working with his teammates to make everything around them better, then he's now hurting you from a franchise standpoint. And that, I don't want to go like in the deep end just because of some comments.
Well, there were people that said that because he was a big tennis player early on,
right,
that kind of seeps into where it's like it's an individual sport, so that's why he's a little bit more
about it. Yeah, I can totally respect that point of view. I'm just to the point where I know this is overreaction. I know that's where where we're aiming at for this stuff, but I don't know that I've seen enough that I'm like. I still feel like it was a steal. I still feel like value-wise, getting
on talent
someone
alone,
with his talent in this draft where they got him was absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Well, it's worth the risk. I mean, I thought the biggest risk on him was going to be durability. And then maybe when he went to the Cardinals, I thought, oh, great, he's going to be the backup to Sam Bradford, a guy who had a ton of talent.
I was going to ask, does he start day one?
Well, I'm just saying, like, even if he's not the backup to Sam Bradford, again, Bradford's still on that team, so a guy that, again, has a ton of talent but was never able to do anything with it because of the durability. And even I kind of talked about that a little bit in my group chat today, where it was like, I think Rosen's the most talented, and the reason he'll falter is because of, like, a Sam Bradford, he'll get injured and won't be able to be on the field.
Yeah.
Now he's drafted to the ghost of Christmas past or Christmas future.
Now it's drifting away, where it's a little bit more of, does he have the mentality to be a leader and win? Maybe he'll be able to put up stats, but maybe he won't have the ability to take his team to the next level. That's the question that's coming into me, and now that's more of a concern. So I understand why he fell this low. I still think the tape speaks volumes on him, and I know UCLA was a bad team, but UCLA wasn't lighting up the Pac-12 this year.
Well, I mean, there was also questions where I heard this on the Dan Patrick show this week where he was almost going to come back to UCLA.
Yeah.
And, like, Chip Kelly was sitting there like, hey, I want him back. I can win with anyone. But, hey, I would love to have Josh Rosen be here on my team. But there was even a, like, do I want to go pro? Do I want to come back kind of a thing? The thing I think with Josh Rosen, though, if there's any team that would have been perfect that needed a quarterback for him to go to, it's the Cardinals. And the main reason why I say that is, remember how I brought up the talking like condescending to your wide receivers? Who's the number one wide receiver in Arizona?
I believe it's John Brown.
John Brown. But Larry Fitzgerald is who I was thinking of.
Oh,
John Brown's not even on the team anymore. I think he's in Baltimore.
Whoops.
But Larry Fitzgerald is the guy I'm thinking of. If there's anyone, and I don't know Josh Rosen, I don't know if he'll be like whatever, Larry, like whatever you say.
Is Larry Fitzgerald any good, though?
No.
Like, does he have any credentials to his career?
But what I'm saying is, if there's anyone that can teach him and guide him to be a better leader and kind of maybe whip this kid into shape, I'll say, it'd be Larry Fitzgerald.
No, 100%. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's been a great person.
Just a great pro.
He's the epitome of like leadership and everything you want in a professional.
Kind of reminds me of Tim Duncan with the Spurs almost. Yeah.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I like that comparison. I think that not only with the Larry Fitzgerald thing, I also think this is probably the great spot because you also look, it's the most pro-ready quarterback with a great defense already. And Steve Wilkes is going to enhance that defense.
I mean, I know they lost the Honey Badger.
Yeah, make it better. But, I mean, there's still a lot of talent on that defense. So I really like that fit. You have David Johnson. You have Larry Fitzgerald. You now have Josh Rosen if he is the starter. And a good defense. Now, will that help you win the NFC West with all the talent there in San Francisco and Los Angeles? And I'll even give respect to Seattle because of Russell Wilson. Probably not. But this team will at least probably be competitive in that NFC West.
Do you think Mike McCoy and Josh Rosen will work well?
I think they could.
Because Mike McCoy is the OC right now.
I think it could.
I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, he's not a Peyton Manning, and McCoy had his biggest success with Peyton Manning. And I don't know if he's more of that, because when I think of Peyton Manning and Phillip Rivers, they can dominate with their arm. But one thing too is Peyton and Phillip Rivers trash talk like crazy. And then they have that competitive edge, and Rosen seems to really have that competitive edge as well. So maybe personality-wise, it might fit well with Mike McCoy and his offense, but talent-wise, I don't see the arm talent that Rivers and Manning has, but those also are all-time greats. So it's gonna depend on how they work in gel and training camp.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest thing, if we're talking about steal here, just kind of end it up.
Yeah.
Talent-wise, he's a steal. Like, getting him at 10, like, this is a guy who, talent alone, #1 pick.
You got my #1 quarterback as the fourth quarterback off the board. That's the definition of a steal.
The big thing for me in the end, and like I said earlier, I'll say it again now, is I feel like Josh Rosen's biggest enemy will be Josh Rosen. It'll be one of those situations where it's like, you know what? In the end, everyone tried to help him. He was his own demise. He would focus on this, wouldn't focus on that. He'd get too carried away with this and not that. But, like, if he just, to me, blocks out everything that anyone says, who gives a crap that you went 10, you're on the Arizona Cardinals, and you get to play in the NFL? Like, show a little bit of humility there. But if he can put all that aside and just go play some football, he'll be a great pro for Arizona.
Be careful, Icarus.
Yeah,
exactly.
Don't fly too close to the sun.
Do you got any final thoughts, Dave?
No, I think you guys wrapped up pretty well. I just hope that I truly do hope that the fit is right, and I think that as long as Sam Bradford has the time to kind of give him the warning signs of, look, you're incredibly talented. So was I. I'm now on my 3rd team, 4th team.
Well, that was for different reasons.
Rams, Eagles, Vikings, 4th team.
It was an interesting contract, to be fair, but
yeah, but I'm saying I think Rosen's demise will be his personality, not. And Sam Bradford isn't an asshole.
that we know of.
He'd be a huge asshole.
Dave, then we know it.
Closet
asshole, Sam Bradford.
But I'm saying if there's someone who can come in and be the guy who you're learning under, I think Sam Bradford is journeyman enough, but he also has a top end talent. Where just a year, just a little over a year ago, highest passing percentage in the NFL. So I mean, it's a good position for him to grow under. It's not somewhere, even though he's the most pro-ready, we're all thrilled about that, he doesn't have to start day one.
Well, and Fitz will humble him too. And also, I mean, look at the 3rd string now on that Arizona Cardinals team. Mike Glennon was humbled last year. Hey, I just got a 3-year, $46 million contract. Now I'm the 3rd string quarterback for a Cardinal team behind Sam Bradford, who can't stay healthy, and Josh Rosen, who's the rookie.
I think
that's something too.
Look into your crystal ball really quick, Sean. Is there any reality where Sam Bradford goes down this year and Mike Glennon starts over Josh Rosen?
Oh, God, no.
Just for year one.
No.
Like, let's say week 6 he goes down and the Cardinals put in Mike Glennon.
Is Josh Rosen injured?
It would literally have to be like week 1, play 4. And only in that scenario.
The only way that he would go in the game before is if Josh Rosen's in the locker room taking a piss.
Yeah.
And it was a turnover and Rosen's scrambling to get in and Glennon has to hand it off to
He
David
couldn't
Johnson.
find his helmet on the sideline. There was a whole shenanigans play. Yeah.
And just to kind of give you guys a little insight of just Josh Rosen after I watched his film.
Sure.
Strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, I had pocket passing,
Yep.
great spiral, field vision, arm talent. All weaknesses, durability, leadership, personality. Not one thing, except for maybe durability, not one thing to do with his actual
Play.
talent and physical ability on the field. So for me, kind of like what Sean and Dave said, he'll be his own enemy. But Cardinal fans, you guys, let us know what you think down below in the comment section. Did the Cardinals get the steal of the draft? How will Rosen's career pan out with the Cardinals? Let us know what you guys think.